Welcome to the Nexus Summit, a think tank media experience. This is where the hospitality industry comes together across students, educators, employers, and global leaders to connect, learn, and lead. From keynote speakers and expert panels to student competitions, certifications, and live conversations, the summit showcases the ideas, people, and opportunities shaping what's next. Take your front row seat to the future of hospitality and discover where you belong in it. Let's get into it.
Hello, my name is Professor David Jones, and I'm very happy to be here at Hospitality Nexus 2026. I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite subjects in career development today, internships. And more specifically, I want to talk to you about the Internship Learning Continuum that I've created. Now, this is it. You'll see this on the screen now. I'll tell you a little bit more about it as we go through the process here in a minute. What I'm going to cover today is talk to you a little bit about my background and the internship connection. Then we'll talk about the purpose of an internship and the purpose being primarily focused on the student. Then I'll introduce you to the Internship Learning Continuum and its 3 stages. And I'll add in how this can be applied to you as a hospitality industry professional or one of my fellow academics. And in the end, I'll give a little plug for my IOI podcast that is designed for students. So regarding my background, in the nearly 50 years I've spent in the hospitality field, half of it has been in hotels, other half in academics. I've also split time between North America and Asia. As an industry professional, I hired and I managed interns. 2 of my major companies that I worked for in that hotel sector were Marriott in the US and Shangri-La in Asia, amongst others. As a faculty member, I supervised students in their internships and I oversaw internship courses. That all began with my career at San Francisco State University as an assistant professor. As an academic administrator, I developed curriculum that incorporated internships and work experience, and I'm extremely proud of the work that we did at the Singapore Institute of Technology, where I led the start of the hospitality business program there and what we called the Integrated Work Study Program, which was our 8-month-long internship. And then most recently, I worked part-time at the front desk at a local hotel here in Pismo Beach, California, the Seacrest Oceanfront Hotel, something to keep me busy in my retirement. In fact, it's actually just over my shoulder here in the video that you're seeing. So let's begin by the purpose of an internship. It should be more than a job. It needs to have a learning component. Now, the purpose is applied learning, as my former colleague and friend, Michael Collins, said in his book, Make It Count, Getting the Most from Hospitality Internship. It's the connecting the theoretical knowledge from academics and the practical knowledge in an industry setting. Now, we need to remember that it's about learning to be a manager. So it's the manager's duties and responsibilities that we're concentrating on here in terms of the learning process. And what it's like to be managed is another factor here. And you need to know your future employees and staff perspective, because the job you're most likely doing in an internship is the job you'll probably be managing someday down the road. Experiencing management meetings is another important element related to that. Now, sometimes we talk about internships and work experience separately. I use them synonymously. I view a work experience as something that you could actually turn into an internship. Now, this is the Internship Learning Continuum I introduced to you earlier. It has 3 stages. Starts with operations, moves to management, and eventually to business. So it's essentially asking first the what questions, then the how questions, and ultimately the why questions. Another way to look at it on that continuum is it's the subjective to the objective knowledge. So let's start with the first stage, operations, which are the what questions. It's the starting point here. So if you did a typical 3-month internship as I was used to in the States. This might be the stage you're in for the first month, and that's your focus. It's when you're learning the job description and the tasks associated with it. So you need to be able to answer the what questions of what is that job description? The company organization and culture and expectations, perhaps the motto. Interdepartmental relations, the organization chart, if you will. So a question here might be, which are the departments within the organizations that work closely with your area of the business or organization? In my design, questions to answer are part of the process of moving you through the continuum. So you review those with your academic internship advisor, and you address them with the supervisor at the company or organization that you're working for. Now, the management level is the how. That's the second stage. So in a management role, you're observing and understanding what the managers do. Interdepartmental relations, for example, and expectations and perceptions is a critical part here. Identifying the challenges. How are they dealt with if there's a conflict? So a question here might be, how is constructive communication being carried out among the various departments? So communication skills is something we're looking at here. And also, an important element are the reports and tools for forecasting future operations, how they're put into place. How do they actually operate? And actually, who's responsible too, for that matter? And then ultimately, the third stage is the business stage, the why question. Now, I'll be honest, my experience, an awful lot of internships never get to this stage. And I think that's a missing element that needs to be a part of that factor of that moving towards understanding management, because you need to understand business level issues such as understanding profitability, pricing of services, handling of customer feedback, evaluating trends. How's that done in the organization that you're working for? This is something that sometimes is captured in the reflection on the internship experience at the very end of the process. Now, asking questions of managers and colleagues on why the process and the systems work is how you go about getting it done. That's how you learn the why aspect, asking questions. And perhaps you're going to interject your observations on how things can be improved. For example, suggest new ways that various departments can be reorganized to improve the effectiveness and efficiency of the organization. That could be an element that you're being asked in the process to reflect on. And this could be directly connected to a capstone research project. Now, the reflection afterwards is how you look back at what you discussed with your employer about what you hope to achieve, learn, and experience. And then, did you experience meeting those expectations? Did you make it to the business stage level? Now, what positive contribution did you make during this experience is another element of using that continuum. The function of the continuum is that it's an umbrella over the entire internship experience. It's what I call my secret sauce to an internship syllabus for those of you and my academic colleagues that are listening. Now, the continuum can fit in several scenarios. In that 3-month internship I mentioned, it's a beginning to by month by stage. Now, stretching it out over a longer period of internship, which I had the opportunity to do at Singapore Institute of Technology, where you had an 8-month-long internship program. Then it can vary in terms of how much you do on each of the stages. Or it could be employed at each rotation. And ideally, an internship has rotations to different departments or different jobs, even within one department. So you may have several iterations of those stages, one for each of the rotation, where you go through all 3 stages for each one. So you challenge yourself here to use this as a learning tool for you. And I'm talking to the student here specifically, even if it's not required. But for management perspective, same way, even if the student just happens to be working for you, perhaps you can put them through this aspect of the continuum to make that a more valuable work experience for them. For the students, your future leadership and career ambition, it's always keeping in mind here that you're going to be a manager. And I emphasize on that. How will you manage? Now, for my industry colleagues, I'll reflect on the success factors here that we had at Singapore Institute of Technology. These are the things that we had in place. First, as I mentioned, it was an 8-month-long internship, which the industry liked and we appreciated. It gave the student the exposure to help lead them to that management job when they graduated. We also had the element of student preparedness because the students all had previous intern experience, either at the polytechnics that they went to school in before they came to our program, or we put them through a job experience type of internship program first before they went through the 8-month-long one. It also took experienced faculty who have industry and academic knowledge, the ones who can ask and then know the answers to those kinds of questions at each level. And we had an excellent career service support at all levels in terms of keeping in touch with the students, preparing them for that. They were terrific. And strong industry contacts. It was led by an advisory board of senior leaders, well-respected leaders in the community. And finally, a really important element, particularly in Singapore, was that we had government support, which encouraged the industry to support SIT, trying to get homegrown students into the industry. Now, for those of you industry professionals listening, the focus here is on a commitment to develop future leaders. And you wouldn't be listening to this now if you didn't already believe that. You need to maintain a strong connection with academic partners and career services team. Again, you're listening to this, you're already doing this. But it's also about this preparing middle managers and supervisors. It's not just those from the leadership and the senior leadership aspect we're talking about here. It's at all levels. So in-house training to be able to produce those, the results that you want from this internship experience. And this is where I default to talking about my innovative internship coaching, which I'll mention briefly here as a method to help you accomplish that. And of course, government support, whatever resources you can get from government support, helps a great deal in terms of making perhaps the funds available for the supervisory level people that you need in order to give them the time to be able to do this, whatever it may be in the process. It's hard to make people do something in addition to their job without some other kind of incentive. Now, innovative internship coaching that I mentioned, I'm not going to talk about it in a lot of detail, but it's about doing a third-party element of helping you with the coaching of the intern as well as your own staff, and there are a number of different ways that you can do that. Now, finally, I want to plug in here for my Insights on Internships from Professor Jones podcast. It is a podcast that I've been doing for several years now, designed for you, the student, and there's a number of different chapters in there. And the initial ones were about trying to give you my knowledge and experience with regards to this. And then now I've been doing interviews with past students in the Alumni Voices chapter that'll give you some insights on how those that are being successful in the industry today, how they got there from those internships. So I want to thank you all for listening today, and I trust that you'll get a chance to look at the IOI podcast and my website as well. Thank you again.
Thanks for spending time with us at the Nexus Summit. This experience is part of Think Tank Media and Hospitality Nexus, a global human-first platform bringing the hospitality ecosystem together in one place. Inside the Nexus, it's a career fair that never closes, connecting industry leaders, educators, students, employers, and partners through real presence. To keep the conversation going, create your free profile and connect directly with summit participants from around the world at hospitalitynexus.org. Stay connected, keep learning, and take your place in what's next.